Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? So we're excited to find out what is happening today with the judicial review. So as you can see, I'm not at the High Court because I thought what I'm going to do is going to be at home today, and I've got the news on. I'm monitoring Twitter, and I'm monitoring, more importantly, WhatsApp as well. Quite a few people on there talking about it already. So what do we think is going to happen? Well, it was interesting because I put a poll up yesterday on the community page of my YouTube channel, and I don't know if you can make it out, but there it is there. Let me read it out to you. And it's quite interesting that it was quite equal in terms of whether people thought it was going to go in favor of the ULEZ expansion or against the ULEZ expansion. In fact, 24% said the expansion will be held illegal. So 24% said the judge would rule in our favor. But 19% is pretty close, said it will rule in favor of the mayor's ULEZ expansion. So 19% said that it would be actually in favor of Sadiq Khan. However, 57% said that Sadiq Khan will go ahead with ULEZ regardless of the verdict. Now, I find that really interesting. But actually, personally, I think the opposite is true, because obviously we've had the situation in Uxbridge where the by-election, where the Labour Party has got a very clear message that the ULEZ expansion is a vote loser. And some pretty serious conversations are being held or have been held, at Labour HQ. And the trouble with Sadiq is that now he's sort of staked his entire reputation on it now, right? So he's basically, he's tied all these colors to this ULEZ expansion mast, right? And whether it's ego, whether it's pride, whether it's losing face in front of his C40 cities colleagues, which of course are all the other mayors of major cities around the world, in which he's already stated in media comments is that he has to do the ULEZ expansion because the others are waiting to see him do it. So he's supposed to be inspiring other people to do this, which of course begs the question of whether he's serving us or as Londoners or whether he's serving other mayors around the world. But anyway, however, I'm sure it's being made very clear to him from the Labour Party that the ULEZ expansion is a vote loser, but he can't go back now. He can't, because he's just staked everything on this. So I think in some ways, the judge ruling against him would be a little bit of a godsend for him, because then he can just hold his hands up and go, well, I was going to go ahead with it, but I can't now. So it's an easy get out for him without him having to actually U-turn or step down. So I'm sure that he's obviously as anxious to see what the judge says as we all are, because for him it'll be an interesting get out. So we've got a few people joining us, and I'm just gonna share this around as well. Hello from Wales, Shane. How you doing? Thanks a lot. Kevin Lux says, unfortunately, I think it will go against us. Wanting to scrap it, no matter how many lies he comes up with. Well, I mean, we've got to wait and find out, right? Fingers, legs, toes, arms are all crossed, says James D. Pete James, have you seriously thought about running for mayor? You know what? So many people have said this, but honestly, I am not a politician, and I just don't have the mentality of being a politician, if you see what I'm getting at. So there's absolutely no chance that, that could ever happen. I'm a journalist and a content creator. That's what I've always been, and that's all I can be. So I can't really be more than that. And I'm certainly never going to be a politician, that's for sure. But I appreciate you guys saying so. It's very kind. Absolutely. ULEZ is a stealthy tax, Mister says. I thought you would be there. I'm not there. I'm at home because I thought it'd be easier to cover it from here. And then what we got, hello from Dunfermline. Don't forget the likes, people. Thank you, Gina. Come on, Judge, do the right thing by Londoners. Great coverage as ever. Thank you to Ank1288. Paul M. Hello, Shazad. Hello back at you. Ank1288. Shazad, love your passion for cars. Great work and all your videos. Come on, Judge, do the right thing. Absolutely, do the right thing. And thank you so much for your kind comments. Yeah, Dexter Chant has got exactly what I'm getting at. Too honest to be a politician. I mean, politics that's part of the game, right? That's part of what politicians do. Yeah. It's almost an inevitable part of their job description, unfortunately, which we all wish it wouldn't be. But I guess that's the case, So with the ULEZ expansion, clearly it's become a big issue for the Labour Party. And I think that even if, I don't want people to be disheartened if the ruling does go against us today, because at the end of the day, we can still fight this. There's several things in play at the moment. One, of course, is the fact that Labour Party has realised that the ULEZ expansion is a vote loser. And like I said, I mean, high-level conversations are being had, and I think it's very likely that they're going to give it a serious reason. And when Keir Starmer uses the word reflect, in Keir Starmer, he's an understated man, right? So in his terminology, reflect means, you need to rethink this shit, Sadiq, and you need to go away and decide whether this is actually worth doing, because this could screw us. It's basically what he's saying by reflect. Yeah. So it's definitely something that they are seriously thinking about. So like I said, don't be disheartened if it does go against us, because there's still the fact that Labour could themselves kill it, and then of course there is the mayoral election, which is happening 2nd of May next year, in which we have candidates that are already standing and saying that, well, they are not for ULEZ expansion. They're going to roll it back. Anthony says, I worry if the ULEZ ruling goes against the ULEZ expansion, Khan may attempt to increase the charge for the existing ULEZ area. Well, it's possible, I suppose. It is possible. I mean, again, he needs a mandate to be able to do that. But of course, the charges have been going. I mean, you remember when the congestion charge was introduced and it was only £5, right? What is it now? £15? So yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, right? But I don't know. I don't necessarily think that would happen. I think that would be quite a difficult one for him to do if he decided to do that. So yeah, I think that's unlikely, but you never know. I suppose he could do that, couldn't he? He could do that. Okay, I'm just going to share this on Twitter, and I'm just checking and keeping up to date with what's going on, just so that as soon as I hear anything, because obviously it's 2 minutes past 10, and I haven't heard anything yet. What else are you saying? Okay, Chris says, I'm scared. Well, like I said, look, don't be disheartened. Don't be scared, because at the end of the day, this is not the end. And don't forget, the fight continues. Even if ULEZ ruling is in our favor, the fight continues because there's other things coming. And ULEZ believe you me, ULEZ in London and in other cities will rear its ugly head again. It will. And again, there's arguments for ULEZ. Again, as I've always stated, I'm not against ULEZ in central London, but it's a case of whether or not it actually has an impact on air quality. And as we've proven time and time again, in terms of outer London, it doesn't really have an impact. Fingers crossed, says Ray Turner, for a happy brown car guy. Thank you very much. ULEZ must be dropped, says Chris and Willis. The Michael Brown, stop putting yourself down. You made a lot of people open their eyes. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Abu Hamza, power to the people. Yay. The Real Simpsons one. Good morning from the Shetland Islands, where we don't tolerate this kind of nonsense. Why did you elect these people to destroy your lives beyond me? Got to be able to tell a good, noble, or strategic lie, says the Omarian meme. I think a lot of people are getting exactly what I was referring to. There's 30 days before it kicks in. There's not much time to get any change. Once it starts, it will not get pulled. Beat Smith 2005. Well, this is the thing, you see, and I did ask, I have asked one or two of the candidates that are standing for or planning to stand for the mayoral election next year in May about whether or not, once it's in action, can it be rolled back? And they've told me that, yes, it can be rolled back. It is possible to do that. I know what you're saying, because I felt the same myself. It's like, well, once it's there, it's there. They're not going to go back on it. But apparently they can. The mayor candidates, we will have to hold them to it as well if they come into power. But they have said that, yes, we will be able to roll it back. He's got a book to sell. Main reason he wants his own expansion. Agree, lose will do him a favor and blame someone else. Otherwise, he needs to bring out, and this is, was it TL or TI? And he said, otherwise, he'll need to bring out a new book called Retreat. Breathe, retreat. I like that. Very good. It's hello, it's Watling Boy. It's the musician from Trafalgar, hoping this will go our way. Absolutely. Secret Forest Creatures, good morning, everyone. Good morning back to you. Remember the ants and the grasshoppers in Bugs Life? Yeah, I think there's been a quote going around from that movie, which is very pertinent about how they need to control the masses. And then they decide for us, which is kind of, what a lot of people are thinking. Elvira, Mistress of the Light. What a cool name. Best of luck from an ex-Londoner living in Wales. Secret Force, because you're one fine a long line. Yes, absolutely. We need to stop this now in its tracks before it manifests something worse, deadly for you to envy. Yeah, and I guess what you're referring to is Paper Mile, which of course is where this is ultimately leading. And yes, I agree that it is actually much worse even than ULEZ, because Paper Mile will affect everybody and it will seriously infringe people's right to drive their cars. You know, it really will, regardless of what anybody thinks. Press the like button. Thank you, Gina. Enjoy your channel. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Guy Biston. Why has Rishi Sunak government not added pressure on Sadiq this week? Seemed like the perfect opportunity with Labour losing votes and 1288. Well, I think there was something yesterday about Rishi and Sadiq locking horns over housing, wasn't there? So I think they are trying to capitalize on it, but I think you're right, actually. I think they could do a lot more. And I think the mayoral candidates could also, really drive that home as well. So it'd be interesting to see how it goes depending on today's verdict as well. How they can even consider implementing ULEZ at the current time with the high inflation, everyone struggling financially, it is total madness. It's Project Chaos. I absolutely agree. I think timing is the worst aspect of the whole ULEZ expansion. If things were different, if situation was different, you could maybe even justify it. You could maybe even go, even though there is no benefit whatsoever, as the reports repeatedly have stated, to actually expanding ULEZ in terms of air quality. But right, here we go. Apparently, it's a win for Sadiq Khan. ULEZ expansion is legal, says the High Court. Somebody has just posted this on Twitter. Am I getting on the news yet? Somebody has just posted this on Twitter. Oh, gosh. All right. Well, that's not great news, is it? Like I said, folks, don't get disheartened. The fight isn't over. Let me see if I can get this confirmed. Let's see. Justice Swift rules that London's extension of ULEZ zone is legal and can go ahead. Scheme will go live from August. Wow, guys, this is it. ULEZ expansion is lawful. Okay, there are enough tweets right now, I think, to take that as read. Yes, unfortunately. Yep, I'm afraid to report that it'll go ahead. They've said it is legal, which sucks, really. I gotta be honest, that really sucks. I was really hoping for this thing, and like I said, I suspect to an extent, because Sadiq Khan is having very difficult conversations, I'm sure, within the Labour Party. I suspect that he was hoping that this might give him the perfect out. But it appears that the ULEZ expansion has been deemed legal. And honestly, between you and me, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a solicitor, I'm not a barrister. I don't know how legal systems work necessarily, but I don't see how they've come to that ruling. I really don't understand how they've come to that ruling, because there's so many aspects of what he's done here: the speed at which he's rushed it in, the fact that he's ignored the consultation, the fact that it wasn't clear in terms of what it was all going to be about. Susan Hall, who's one of the mayoral candidates, who's a Conservative Party mayor candidate, while it's a shame she just tweeted, while it's a shame the High Court did not find the ULEZ expansion to be unlawful, there is no denying that Sadiq Khan's plan will have a devastating impact on families and businesses across the city. If I am elected mayor, I will stop the ULEZ expansion on day one. This is what she's saying. Wow. So this is, not great news, guys. I'm sorry to ruin your Friday morning and ruin the weekend ahead, but that's the reality of what's happened. So let's see what some of your reaction here. Lots of angry faces. No, this is war. It's unenforceable without the proper signage, and of course the cameras and signs are being tampered with, let's say. That's really bad news, Project Chaos. Please vote him out. Nothing on the BBC yet. As usual, BBC is behind. I've got BBC on actually at the moment. It's on the TV behind you, and I'm keeping an eye on it, and there's nothing on there yet. It's crazy. It will be time to come out and force the protest. And this is one thing, I've got to say, guys, that we've got, and I'm not talking like, that there should be, that, okay, here we go, on the BBC now. So about 10 minutes after 10. So there's now something on the BBC that they are reporting it. And actually, they can't even. Oh, right. Oh, that's it. It was one sentence. Can you believe that? Thank you, BBC. Oh, my Lord. I'm not even kidding. There was one sentence and then she moved on. Oh, wow. My goodness. There's something going on with the BBC, I'll tell you that much. So, yeah, I think that, just in terms of the numbers, right? I'm not talking about just stop oil type of protests. We do not want to go down that road. I'll tell you that right now. But just in terms of numbers, we need to up the numbers when it comes to these events, these protests, because we need to show them that there's a lot of people that this affects. And I think there is a lot of people that it affects. If you drive around the outer London areas, you see so many cars. This 1 in 10 cars is a nonsense, because as you're driving around, you see that car, that diesel, that old car, that diesel, that classic. You look around, you go, all of these cars are going to be affected. And I don't think enough people know that. And people that know it aren't coming out to protest it. And I think that you've got to tell your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, anybody that you can talk to, that if you are affected by ULEZ, and if you are not even directly, people got to realize, and show them my videos, show them my content indirectly, everybody's going to be affected by this. And you got to tell everybody that if you're going to be affected by this, you got to come out and protest. You've got to come out and do these things. There's a couple of protests happening this week as well. There's awareness events going on all around London. And I think the next big protest there's going to be one at the Ace Cafe as well. Details of that, go check on the Facebook pages, Action Against ULEZ. There's 2 Facebook pages. Go and join them. That's where you can find out about all these events. But people got to come out in numbers. They got to come out and really demonstrate that they are against this thing. There will be a massive pushback against this, though. Hopefully someone or something will stop that Project Chaos. Yeah, I mean, again, the Labour Party themselves need to see what's going on. I'm sure there will be appeal. There will be an appeal, but it's going to cost the councils more money. And that's the problem, because the councils that brought this case against Sadiq Khan spent their own money in order to do this. And as we know, a lot of councils are not in the best of financial health at the moment. But I hope so. I hope they can find the money to put in some kind of appeal. But I think it might be unlikely, actually. I think it might be more down to people power now, honestly. Purchasing the camera pre-consultation should have qualified as predetermined the outcome. Yeah, exactly. It's another reason, as says Harry0156, that the fact that he'd already bought the camera should itself nullify the fact that he was going to be doing a consultation on this, because he didn't. He'd already decided that he's going to buy the cameras. I'm sure there will be an appeal. Well, again, like I said, there could be an appeal. Technically, there can be, but it's about the cost, right? Can these councils, can they afford to take it any further? So that's the question. And don't forget, there's only a month to go. Unfortunately, there are still loads of people still fast asleep. K9, yeah, exactly, I agree. And I think these people need now to get out there, join the events, join the awareness events, join the major protests, and make their voices heard, because otherwise this isn't going to have an effect. And the thing is, don't think that these protests don't have an effect. Don't think that all of this activity hasn't, because it has had an effect. It's got to the point where they lost an election that they thought they were going to win. Labour lost an election in Uxbridge, which they thought they were going to win. Why did that happen? Because of the awareness campaigns. Why this went to court? Because the councils knew that people weren't happy about it. Why did they know that people weren't happy about it? Because we told them. That's why. So these are important things. Whether BBC covers it or not, who cares? And we all know that people are not watching the BBC anymore. They're all watching YouTube. They're watching people like me. And so it's very important to keep doing what we're doing. I'm really starting to dislike the UK. We are just being taken for a ride. I'm sick of it. John Bounds. What as I said, hang on, I've lost my place now. I need to go back and find. I think I jumped ahead. Wow, there's a lot of comments coming in. I want to give you all. I want to try and get through as many of these comments as possible. But I think, hang on, I've got to go back because there's quite a lot of comments coming in at the moment. This is great, guys. Thank you so much for all this feedback. Right, so. Time to demonstrate mass. Abu Hamza, 1970. BBC confirms, yeah, Labour are gamblers. Amir Meme, Secret Forest creature, utter corruption. Gina, been paid off. JK11, so the Ben consultation was legal. Ben Judge, okay. Project Case, corruption, lots of brown envelopes, pretty much. Abu Hamza, complete poo. Well, it's the poo emoji. Scarlett sent you, remember the poll tax. Mark Davis, this will massively add to the cost of living and won't be counted as inflation. Hambo05 shows just how corrupt the system is. Paul M, without the proper signage allowed the councils, it's unenforceable technically. Secret Forest, well, we did it politely, now the gloves come off. Well, like I said, I think we need numbers. I don't think we necessarily need to do what Just Stop Oil does or anything else, but I think we need numbers. That's what we need. We need masses of people out there still doing what we're doing peacefully, but masses of numbers, so they can't deny the strength of feeling. DJ Safer, no surprise, to be honest. Okay. Break ULEZ, don't worry, don't pay. Matchbox, vote for Howard Cox. I would say Susan Hall, but I've had enough of everything rolling around conservatives and laborers. Free Car Mag, do not comply. Free Car Mag is great. I write for Free Car Mag. Go check them out. It's absolutely free. You can go on, subscribe. You get the magazine. Brilliant, brilliant little magazine by a legendary automotive journalist, James Rupper, who is an absolute stalwart veteran of the industry and a great, great guy. Do go check it out. Free Car Mag, big shout out to them. Ken Kra, corrupt as hell. Shane Hardy, hi Brown Car Guy, hi back at you. Abu Hamza 1970, lobby your MP. Tell them that you won't be voting Labour in the next general election and mayoral elections. Yep, you got to do that. You got to tell them. You've got to tell them. Over £4,000 to go to work, says Andrew Kirk. Oh my God. Andrew Dean, Sky News has covered it now. Chris, I saw contractors install his ULEZ silage in Enfield this morning. Oh, I wonder if they got the heads up before the rest of us. Dilip Singh, I don't know if I can say that. Sadiq is an utter lily. Dilip, you made me say it. Humbu04, goodbye Labour, counting on my vote for at least 10 years. Yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking like this, right? Tim Hicks, as expected from the BBC, like I said, one sentence and then they just moved on. That was it. Oh, thanks a lot, BBC. Thanks for giving it the due importance that it deserved. I'll tell you one thing, right? On TV, I've got to just say stuff about, Just Stop Oil. I do not condone what they do. I am not in favor of how they go about this. But the BBC just pandered to them the other day. I saw it. Was it BBC or one of the news channels? I can't remember. Maybe it was ITV. But the news channel, the mainstream new media, they pandered to it because they give them like a 10-minute segment to talk about them. And I'm like, wow, you say that it shouldn't work, they shouldn't get the public, but you're giving them, and peaceful protesters, you don't give us any coverage, right? But those people, you give them coverage, thereby you're fueling their tactics. Not good at all, media. Paper Mile next. Yeah, this is the thing, worldwide drum and bass show. Paper Mile will come after this. If the ULEZ is allowed to go ahead, Paper Mile is definitely on its coattails. Steve G, disgrace, worst case, should have been put back to consultation stage. Democracy doesn't exist. If you see the legendary Kingsley Hamilton, who walks around with a cardboard coffin, he makes that point exactly. Okay, what we got? Break them. Right. Harry0156, purchasing the camera because they should have qualified. Oh, yeah, I've read that one, haven't I? I'm sure there will be. Okay, yeah, I've got that. Have I jumped again? Let's see. I hope I haven't lost my place in this. I'm really starting. Okay, I've read that one. So will there be private roads for those who have lots of money and power? Martin 958. Well, it's a dystopian future scenario, isn't it? But it's not entirely, unimaginable. Let's be honest. Paper Mile coming, paying per passenger, track, trace, social credit system. Just watch by 2013. Edward. Ricky Brocklehurst, my God, what a disaster. Can the next mayor change this? Yes, they can. If we vote the right person in, I've spoken to several people that are standing for it. I've spoken personally to Howard Cox, and he said that, yes, it is possible to pull it back. Susan Hall has just tweeted, I just read out her tweet a moment ago, that she will roll it back from day one if she becomes mayor. But we got to hold them to it. Don't just vote them in and let them do what they want. Don't forget, people talk about Sadiq Khan, we voted him in, whatever, whether we did, whether we didn't, whatever. But the point is that even 2 months after his re-election, on his website, he said there was no plans to extend ULEZ. This is 2 months after his re-election. He confirmed there were no plans to extend ULEZ any further. And then, of course, he flip-flopped. So, honestly, we got to hold these people to what they say. Christopher Newberry, we knew this would be the conclusion. Han said so a while back. No change there then. Dean Edward, Paper Mile, yeah. John, to only bad areas in City Hall. Indeed. On GB News now, Maria Hazel. They want you out of your cars by 2030, Dean Edward. Okay, Jimbro, crowd fund to help the councils. Maybe it's an answer. Time to buy a motorbike, Martin 958. Well, I mean, they can also they are also affected by ULEZ, and I put up a fantastic podcast conversation thing the other day that I did at the Ace Cafe with the MD of the Ace Cafe, Mark, and also Lembit from MAG, which is Motorcycle Action Group, and that pretty much explained. And if it doesn't explain in the actual video, I also got a subsequent sort of spec guide, if you like, that I put into the description and into the pinned comment at the top, which tells you every way that motorbikes and motorcyclists are affected by the ULEZ expansion. Okay, I've lost my place again in this because there's lots of comments coming in right now, so thanks a lot. Paul M, legislated theft. I'm just going to have to try and go through some of these because thank you so much for all the response. Thank you so much for all the support that you've given me as well. I stopped paying for everything 3 years ago, apart from food. Every letter goes in the bin. Base Richard Mosley. Whatever we do in the UK won't make any difference until big polluting countries like China, Russia, India, etc. play their part. Why should we all have to put the burden? Secret Forest Creatures UK. This is a very good point, and I've made this point because we've been talking a lot about climate change. And I saw like last night big discussions about oh, the UK. The UK is like this. In terms of what it's doing to the climate, it's like this is like us not using our cars is not going to make a jot of difference to the climate. If you putting aside the whole arguments about whether there is climate, whether there isn't, what affects it, what doesn't. If we accept what scientists are saying, or what some of the scientists are saying, is that CO2 is bad for the environment, we're putting out there, it's causing climate change. We accept all of that. Then if you look at who is putting out the biggest amount of CO2, I mean, none of the other countries. America is the second biggest, and it's not even a third of what China is putting out. It's massive. And it's like, I've often said, it's like, okay, us not driving our car, is minuscule compared to what's happening over there. So shouldn't we be looking at where the greatest pollution, if you're saying the greatest pollution comes from burning fossil fuels, and you say you credit that to cars and to road transport, and then you focus on that, you say, well, that's where the greatest pollution is coming from, so that's what we should tackle. And I say, well, the greatest pollution, you should look at which country it's coming from, and it's coming from China. Right? India, I think, is third on the list, but it's way down there compared to China. And the populations of China and India are actually identical in terms of numbers. They have pretty much the same population. So why is China all the way up there? And by the way, it's all the way up there because of us, because we buy product from China. So they're making the product that we're buying. Maybe the answer to the environment is for us to want less. Maybe the answer for the environment is for us to continue using old stuff, including old cars. Maybe that is the answer. Not just buying new stuff and getting China to make more and more of it, and hence putting more CO2 into the air, which then destroys the environment. So absolutely agree with that. Whatever we do here, as Secret Forest Creature said, is whatever we do here is not going to make a jot of difference to the climate until we tackle the biggest polluting countries. Okay, Beachmith 2005. There's no point in repealing ULEZ in May 2024. The damage will have been done. People will have sold their cars. Well, it's quite possible, but I'm telling people not to sell their cars. But there are a lot of cars. We are entering times when they will stop you driving by 2030, Dean Edward. Time for mass legal protests. Numbers are important. We do the maths. I think I need to thank you. I think you've just become a member. So thank you very much if you have. That's much appreciated. Guys, you can join a membership on this channel anytime. That's greatly appreciated. What else? One way or another, they want us off the roads. Tom Hicks. It will go through. The judge has had time. New brown envelope my way. Okay, let me try somebody who I haven't mentioned yet. How many data protection requests for video would it take to make this collapse? 11 royals. Interesting tactic. Could try it. Nick the Bubble. It's all okay. The money will clean the air like magic. Nick the Bubble. You're going to burst that bubble. James D.E. Cross. £12.50 times 365 pounds. 365.25 days per year is £4,565, 63 pence per annum. Wow, thanks for spelling it out, but you're right. They didn't care that people liked the poll tax until the protest. Mark Davis. Throw their letters in the bin. No proof of delivery. Appeal. Yeah, appeal, but it depends on the cost. If they're going to foot the cost for taking it to appeal. And there's only 1 month left, don't forget. Matt Mayo revving my diesel twice as hard now. God damn, if you're going to pay the £12.50, you get your money's worth out of that engine. That's for sure. This will affect us all when we pay per mile happens. Yes, absolutely, Steve G. It's funny how you could charge as drivers for the ULEZ, says Michael Bowen. What else? What else? What else? Did you know fairground vehicles are exempt? Roy Monk. No, I didn't. How is that? Interesting. Okay, what else? Oh dear, I think I've jumped ahead again. Lost my place. Wait. Let's go back. Things are moving very quickly. Thank you. Yeah, well, we do the math. Thank you very much. Very kind of you to take up membership on my channel. It's much appreciated. It really helps me to continue doing content. And I guess I'm going to be doing ULEZ content for a while now. I was actually hoping that this was it. I was actually having a little bit of fatigue. Then I was like, okay, maybe we're going to win this and that's it. And I can wind down on this and focus on what I normally do, which is cars, car reviews, and that sort of stuff. And that's because that's also what I do as a freelance journalist as well. But it looks like I'm going to be talking about ULEZ for a while longer. That's for sure. Quite a while longer, it may seem. Councils have public funds, so not a problem having funds for an appeal, says the Real Simpsons 1. We will get a refund if we paid for the current ULEZ. Will we get a refund? Well, it's a moot point, Ebsworth Street, because the judge has ruled in ULEZ Expansion's favor. Protests won't have any effect, break ULEZ. No, they will. They do have an effect, and they are having an effect already. So it's definitely worth getting out there and doing this. Right. Who else have I not yet mentioned? I don't think I can say that. Titan strength. Knock knock. Who's there? Sadiq. I can't say that. Read it in the comments. It's funny. Nick the Bubble. So if you own a classic car and live in London, you have to pay every time you use it, right? Well, it depends. If it's 40 years plus and you register it as a historic vehicle, if it's 40 years plus, it can be granted historic status, but you have to register it as a historic vehicle. If you do, then you are exempt. In my case, my car is 34 years old, so I'm not eligible for that. I'd have to wait another 6 years. So it's crazy. So there are a lot of modern classics. So you're talking a lot of 80s cars and early 90s cars fall into that little gap there, which is an absolute disaster because they are classics and they're going to be treated like scrap. They should not be. Do not scrap cars, especially good ones and especially great ones. Chris Greenfield, the only way to force MPs to listen is to force them by parking every car in the UK and in and around London. Again, I'm trying to find people that I haven't mentioned yet. Thank you so much for all your comments. Abu Hamza 1970, love your channel. So glad someone like you speaking for people like us. Your channel is a breath of fresh air. Thank you so much. So kind of you. Secret Forest Christian, make our own products and improve our own industry, create more jobs. Yes, I actually agree with you. I think, we need to think of, because a lot of this transfer, look, the burning of fossil fuel is not just me driving to the local shops. It's shipping. A lot of that is shipping. It's air freight. It's shipping. It's stuff being transported around, stuff that's being built in China, raw materials that is shipped to China, built in China, and then shipped everywhere else. All of that is contributing to CO2. It's us wanting more new crap that we're getting China to make for us. We all have to think about, if we really want to tackle the climate, this ULEZ things, these pay-per-mile things, these are not going to solve the climate. This is what we need to look at, the fundamental economics, global economics of how we make, build, and want stuff. That's the problem. That's the problem. Brian Hemmings, I just did the calculation. It would take me over 22 years to generate the CO2 that we generated by buying a brand new EV. Okay. I've just lost my place again. It's because comments are just jumping in. Legal action. Okay, what Kent County Council leader says he will also consider legal action depending on today's outcome. Okay, 17 fare raiders on 125-minute bus trip. That's just one bus. There's a lot lost revenue across London. Shager Burger. Do you think more cameras will be vandalized now? I couldn't possibly say. Sean Bailey should have won. Dean Edward. Well, if he wasn't so busy partying. Should I say that? I don't know if I should say that. Just don't pay. Okay. Vote every Labour Borough Council. Vote out every Labour Borough Council. BBC bias. I'm going to consider no TV license next year. This is a Traveller IG. Secret Forest Creature, we love you, BCG. By the way, thank you for everything you do, keeping us informed and positive. Thank you so much. So kind of you. What else? Again, I'm trying to find people that I haven't mentioned yet, because there's lots of great people leaving tons of fantastic comments. Thank you so much. Graham Tate, the end of classic car shows. Graham, I'm so with you. I'm in so much pain regarding this. We already know that there are Anfield Pageant, Bromley Pageant are already considering either shutting down or moving, because they're going to lose 60% of their attendances because of this. So yeah, it's bad. The Ace Cafe is going to suffer as well. It's bad. Paint your car mad colors and register as a showman's vehicle. Joe Renton. You know what? You know what? I could do that. I could get a wrap done, couldn't I? It's worth thinking about. Thank you for that. Yeah, might be a way, right? Okay. Steve Hackett. My motorbike has 6,100 miles on her and ugly cow, but it's not ULEZ compliant. My 43-year-old smoke blowing two-stroke is. So which bike do you think I'll be riding? Yeah, exactly. Some of this is very counterproductive, isn't it? Where are we? We need to make them admit they'll only make money for a short time, but there'll be more economic woes. Meme. Okay, let me try again. Let me try and find some people that I haven't mentioned yet. Johnny 5, I have a 2002 RAV4 petrol. I don't care what they try. I am keeping it. It's a great car. It's part of family. RAV4s are brilliant cars. The RAV4 is one of the most popular, in fact, if it's not the most popular compact SUV in the world. Toyota make brilliant cars. If your car is great, God, please, for God's sake, don't scrap that car. That's a fantastic car. Keep using it as long as you can. You know what? A little bit of advice here, top tip, because if you are thinking of like, oh, ULEZ is going to happen, I've got to change my car, think about the cost to change. Think about what you're going to lose on your current car, because non-ULEZ cars are going to lose money now. Think about how much more you're going to have to pay, because prices on ULEZ cars are inflated at the moment, because people obviously are making more money on them. There's a shortage of cars. To be fair, there is a shortage in the market, right? So people are making more money. So if you look at the cost of change, the cost of what you're going to lose on your car and how much more you're going to pay on the next car, and you're not going to recoup that, because when you come to sell your car, that's an artificially inflated value. It's not the actual value of the vehicle. So you're actually going to pay more. So if you look at it and you go, right, I'm going to pay the whole thing, the cost of change in terms of what I'm going to lose and what I'm going to pay, it's going to cost me more than $5,000. As somebody pointed out, the cost of using ULEZ throughout the year is $4,000. You go, well, you know what? Keep your existing car. Then keep it for at least a year when prices settle down, and then you can do the cost of change won't be as bad. But right now, you got to really think before you suddenly decide I got to sell my car, get another one. Think about the cost of change, because you might find, and also depending on how often you actually use your car, you might find that actually you're going to lose a lot more money than if you just paid ULEZ. So I'm not saying that this is not me advocating ULEZ, but I'm just saying being practical about trying to save you money. You know, everybody goes, oh, let me just quickly sell my car, get another one. You actually might lose more money than you would actually if you had to just pay ULEZ. Think about it, do your sums, do the maths, figure it out, and be very, very careful about what you decide to do next. Ashley Adamson, boycott Oyster Card. Nadeem Haq, what was the point of having large scrappy scheme and no one qualifies for it? Well, they did increase the level of qualification for that, but the amount is so small, and they didn't actually increase the total budget of it. So, you know, it didn't actually make any sense. Random Truth, the only two options, boycott Central London, that won't happen, or challenge ULEZ legally, but that won't happen. Container ships do 5 foot to a gallon of pit oil, allegedly, Tim Hicks. Mark Davis, they are moving pollution from London to wherever these coal-fired power stations have been open to give more power. This is a discussion about EVs. Hambo 04, I think Londoners need to take more group action against the mayor or the levels of pollution we have had to endure on the underground without taking into account overcrowding during rush hour. See, the underground thing is a massive issue. And if you watch my air quality videos that I've done and the readings that I got on the underground, not just me, but not just me now, because people are like, oh, he's making it up, or he's making this up, or his machine wasn't working, whatever. But now so many people have now also bought these temp-top devices, which, by the way, I'll give you a 10% discount if you type in the discount code Shazad, spelled my name. It's in the link for the actual. If you go in the description for my ULEZ, for my air quality test videos, you'll see the discount code in there and the link. You can get 10% off if you want to buy one of those machines. And so many people have bought them, and so many people have uploaded pictures and videos onto YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that. and they've confirmed what I found in my videos. Everybody has confirmed exactly what I found. The underground is an air quality nightmare. Once paper mile happens, then basically any car will be worthless. Right, there's the aim they want. Telecom's keep lying, saying no plans, but this is how he has won. Dean Edward. Okay. Player Sport UK, brown car guy, new mayor of London, sounds good to me. No, mate, it's not happening. Never. I'm never going into politics. What is it? Random Truth. With this platform, so you should look to start fundraising page for legal funding. Look, mate, I'm not a legal expert. I cannot actually engage. This is up to the councils to do this. I can't do this. This is not something that I could engage in. My job here is to just bring you information. I'm a journalist and a content provider. So what I can do is try and bring you information, and what's going on, and bring you commentary, thoughtful, studied, analytical commentary. I can do that, but I can't do these sort of things. But really, you need to talk to your councils. You need to talk to MPs, councillors, people like that, and get them to do something. What else can I go through? Because the comments are just steaming in right now, and I can't really keep up with them. So thank you so much. Burger, motorists is easy target, unlike tackling the massive amount of lost revenue on public transport due to fare evasion. I had 17 fare dodgers on one 50-minute trip. That's just one bus, one trip. It's crazy, right? Jimmy King 123. Yeah, actually, I don't know what to do with mine. Cannot afford a like-for-like replacement, sell and downsize. This is the trouble. It's like, you know, when you do buy another car, you'll end up with something smaller and crappier that you didn't actually want, that doesn't actually suit your needs. That's why I say do your maths really carefully. It might be better to just hold onto your car at least for a year, I reckon, until the crazy prices settle down, the market normalizes. Don't forget, the market is in flux. It has been in flux since the end of the pandemic because there's been a huge shortage of new cars, which fundamentally affected the used car market. So prices on used cars actually rocketed. The average price went up by £7,000 on an average price in a used car in the UK. So the prices right now are mental, both for new and used cars, but I reckon they will settle down in about a year, and particularly ULEZ, of course, has exacerbated the situation. So I would think very carefully before you suddenly decide to buy and sell cars right now. Do the maths, figure out, see if it's worth it. Okay, something else. Let's campaign for the 40-year exemption. Yes, Mick McNulty. Let's campaign for the 40-year exemption to be changed back to 25 years old. Yeah, 25 years old, or as FIBA, which is the International Federation of Classic Automobiles, which is UN-sanctioned body, says the classics are 30-year plus. We should at least abide by what the UN says, shouldn't we? So 40 years is ridiculous. 30 years is definite. Even the FIBA says that 20-year plus, they say those are young timers, they call them. So modern classics. The judge also took a pop at the consultation process, but ultimately sides with Khan, agreeing while the consultation conducted was not in depth, it was lawful. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, so was there ever any chance of winning? Says Dom. Who said that? I didn't say. That was Martin 958. And then Dom Chi says, was never any chance of winning, judge is compromised. Okay. Right. Okay, guys. So I'm going to end the stream now, but clearly this fight is not over. You need to get active. There's 2 major Facebook groups, Action Against ULEZ. Go and seek them out. Dave Armstrong. I bought a temp top. Thank you for the discount. My pleasure. And I found that there's no air quality problem in Manchester. There you go. Lots of comments still coming in, so thank you so much for all of those. But yeah, I mean, have a think about what I've said in this, but have a think about the fact that this is, don't be disheartened. We haven't, it's not over yet. It's not over. Of course, this is a blow. It is a blow. For sure, it's a blow. For sure, this is not good news. This is not the news we were hoping for. This is not the news that we expected. And this is not really helpful to our cause, that's for sure. But it doesn't mean that we've lost in the long term. It doesn't mean that at all. Things can still change. We know that Labour now is under pressure. We know that they have now realized that this is a vote loser, because the legal system may have spoken, but the people can still speak. This is important. This is very important to remember. So now it's all up to us to get out there in mass numbers, make our voices heard, make sure that our councillors, MPs, and all of the people that matter know what we think and what we feel and how this will affect their chances in terms of general elections, whatever. Whichever political party you want to vote for, you need to tell them that they need to be aware of how this is going to affect them. Keep fighting, everyone, says Secret Forest. We need to stick together. Much love. Absolutely. My Way says, when will we find out what time the announcement is going to be made on the judge decision? Where have you been, My Way? The judge ruled against us. He rules that the ULEZ expansion is legal. That's what we've been talking about. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Sorry it couldn't be better news, but like I say, hang in there. Don't lose hope. The fight is ongoing. There's still more stuff that could happen. There's still a lot that could happen even between now and the end of August. I'm not selling my car. It's still parked out there, and I urge you to be very careful and consider very carefully whether you want to sell your car and buy another one at this point in time, and work out exactly what that cost to change is going to cost you. Right then. Thanks so much, everyone. And comments are still coming in. Hopefully you can continue this in the comment section of this video. Thank you so much. And I can speak to you again soon. I'm sure a lot more to be discussed for when it comes to ULEZ. The fight is not over. Stay with it, everyone. And I'll see you at the next event.